Hey, in today's episode of Rock Solid, we're doing something completely different that we've never done before. We had the opportunity to record a live in-person podcast at the Round Rock Chamber of Commerce State of the Chamber Power Lunch. So it was great to have a live audience that could engage with the podcast as it was going on. So we had Bryan Eisenberg chatting with Selicia, Sanchez-Adame, Jordan Robinson, and Deana Cavanaugh. They start off by chatting about the incredible year that the Round Rock Chamber had. And they just passed 1,000 members. So that's where the conversation actually starts. So let's dive in.
And we certainly have. It's been quite an amazing year. And I got to actually take that moment and happened to stroll in when member 1,000 had just signed up. So yeah, it's been incredible. Deana, question for you. You know, we're excited to see you obviously assume the role of board chair this coming year. But you've been part of the ambassadors since I've joined, and I'm very curious from your perspective, two things. One, what role do you think the ambassadors had in helping us achieve those numbers? But more so, what is exciting you about what the ambassadors are going to be doing this coming year?
Sure. So I've been an ambassador for 8 years. I chaired the program back in 2021 or 2022 maybe. But I say it all the time. Our ambassadors are unsung heroes of the chamber. They are boots in the ground. They are bringing in new members. The goal last year was 50 members and we brought in 54. Mm-hmm. Is that correct? Okay. So these are business leaders, business owners who are out in the community really doing the hard work. They're engaging other businesses. They're getting them onboarded and they're getting them engaged, which is really important when it comes to our retention, which is going to be really, really important moving into the future. And the other thing about the ambassadors is we had a membership orientation last night, which is not just for new members, it's for all members, and making sure that members understand the benefits that their membership brings them and that they're utilizing those benefits, which is important. We had a great turnout last night, but our ambassadors are really just amazing people, and they help us realize the insights that the chamber has, the connections that the chamber has, and the access that our members get by being chamber members.
Yeah, I like to say that, you know, they kind of the grease that kind of lubricates everything, because while you may not know everybody in the room, if you find somebody wearing an ambassador badge, just reach out to them. They will gladly introduce you to people that you need to know. So that helps a lot. Now, Jordan, you know, we're making a big deal about 1,000 members, but that's just a number like in a spreadsheet. It's cool, but there's a lot more that the chamber does that people don't realize, right? Because it's not just about member numbers. What are some of the initiatives, especially in economic development and in workforce education, that you're most proud that the chamber has accomplished this year?
Sure, and I will comment very quickly on the 1,000 member. Ever since I joined the chamber, we were always kind of in that 800 member range. And somebody had said to me once, well, can y'all ever get over 800? And just so everybody knows, our goal was like, let's just try to get over 900 this year. And then Selicia comes in and she's like, 900, let's just make it 1,000. And like the staff is kind of like scratching their throat and kind of like rocking in their chair a little bit, like, yeah, we can do that. And we did. And it's for all the reasons that they talked about. We've got an amazing community. But with that, one thing that makes our chamber unique, and I think makes people want to be a part of what we do, is that we do serve as that economic development arm on behalf of the city of Round Rock. We have an amazing partnership with the city where we are effectively the economic department on their behalf. And some of the really amazing things we did this past year is we did just complete a 5-year economic development strategic plan that is going to guide us into the next 5 years, that will help us with our target industries as we're going out recruiting and talking to businesses that we want to invite into our community. From a workforce standpoint, really doubling down on our partnerships with Round Rock ISD, with the higher education institutions that we have here, because really you can do everything from go to kindergarten to get a doctorate degree right here in Round Rock, and not many communities can say that. So really proud of the work we're doing there. And then entrepreneurship, doubling down on supporting, not just bringing in those businesses, supporting local, but growing entrepreneurs and founders from the ground up, and a lot of great work started on that front this past year as well.
Yeah, even in the last couple of months, there's been a couple of new entrepreneur programs that I don't even think people are even aware of. Can you just quickly elaborate on that?
Sure. So one of the things that we're really excited about is we partnered with a global accelerator and venture capital firm, Generator, and they launched the G-Beta Round Rock Accelerator Program. So that is for founders and startups that are looking to quickly scale. Just completed the G-Beta cohort, the first cohort, and they'll be doing their big showcase of their companies. And these are really innovative companies. I mean, everything from aerospace, defense, life sciences, technology, software. I mean, just really cool companies grown right here. So that's happening. The first cohort just wrapped up. They'll do their showcase at the end of this month. And then we just announced this past week a new product, and it's called Jumpstart. And so when we had G-Beta, we went out. They only take 5 companies. We had over 60 applications of extremely qualified companies that any one of them would have been a great member of that cohort. But Jumpstart is really something that's going to offer to some of those, the 55 that maybe didn't get accepted or those who just didn't apply, to get real hands-on, organized support and helping grow their companies so that maybe they could apply to an accelerator program and move towards investments and funding and scale on.
Yeah, and if people want to learn more about Jumpstart, we recently recorded an episode with Cam Hauser, who'll be running that program, and that episode, I think, will be out next week. So kind of get people kind of a preview of what that looks like. Deana, at our ambassador's strategic meeting on Monday, our good friend Mike Barshaw had he didn't quite say it as politely as I'm going to say it. I think he's in the room. We won't pick on him. There he is. Yeah. Okay. So maybe we will pick on him. We're going to keep it PG. Mike wasn't as quite PG when he announced this, but he basically said, besides the fact that the chamber puts on over 120 events, plus all the ribbon cuttings, right? All of that stuff, the council meetings, none of that is all listed. Like on top of that, there's a bunch of stuff that the chamber does that is really like the most important things that most people aren't even aware of. What do you think we need to do in order to make sure, and I'm talking about everybody here in the room, so that the community understands the chamber's impact on like the business legislative impact that the chamber has and the stuff that they're doing?
Well, I think it's just keeping ourselves informed, right? Like attending those orientation meetings and visiting with the chamber staff so that they understand the access and the relationships that they have at their fingertips through all of our chamber staff, through Jordan, through Zach, through everybody, right? There are amazing relationships. And these are people who are willing to fight for us. They're willing to set up meetings for us. They're willing to get us inside doors that we might feel are closed to us. They'll go down to the Capitol and testify for things that are going to make our home better, which is awareness. We really just need to make sure that we're keeping our members aware and educated about that access. Yeah,
I mean, the whole purpose of a great community is relationships. And if you don't understand how to tap into them, again, just connect with the right people. This is a very open chamber. And, coming in from the kind of like the outside 2 years ago and really not knowing anybody to the kind of relationships I've developed in the last 2 years, I mean, I just in awe one time after another and seeing not just my story, but other people's stories sharing the same thing. So thank you for what you all do in this community. Jordan, people say Round Rock is not just the county seat, obviously, but it's certainly the center of commerce. As an example, can you explain why you testified before the state legislative committees to argue against bills and rule changes that would affect how sales tax is sourced in Texas, and why that impact is not only about Dell, but about the small businesses and on the community at large?
Sure. So I could probably speak on this for a while.
Yes.
And I think Deana made a great point. Our chamber, we are about economic development and making sure that we have a thriving community. And a lot of that starts with good policies, good business-friendly policies. So our chamber is out there advocating, not just, not as much at the local level, but at the state level, at the federal level. And we do have those relationships. We have, representation from the congressman's office, Pete Sessions. I think Congressman Carter was here, obviously our state officials as well. And they are very engaged with us as well. So if there is an issue, come to us because we can help make those connections. One of the biggest areas of focus every legislative session is around sales tax. So to try to keep it high level and brief, our state is an origin-based sales tax state. That means that we collect sales tax at the location of where the business and the sale took place. So for example, for Dell, anytime somebody buys a Dell computer, Round Rock collects sales tax. Why that's important is because that was the main economic development tool that we were able to use to recruit Dell here in the first place.
Yep.
By being able to understand this is a huge value, a huge benefit to our community. We're going to partner with Dell and, get creative and find a way to win that project. So having the sales tax at the community locally is important because it's an economic development tool, but it also puts money in our pocket that we then use to go back and do all the things that our city does very, very well. We have amazing parks, we have amazing trails, we have amazing roads and transportation, public safety. The sales tax that we collect based on those businesses being here helps make Round Rock an amazing community. So when certain bills are filed to reverse that, where the sales tax would leave our community and go to potentially where the product was delivered as opposed to where it was purchased, that could be tens of millions of dollars that Round Rock could lose overnight. So it's one of our top issues every legislative session. It's something we partner very closely with the city to make sure that our elected officials understand this initiative and they meet with us. And I know Representative Harris, Davila, Senator Schwartner have been partners of ours in helping to maintain origin-based sales tax sourcing. And they know it's a fight that we go after every legislative session. But we're prepared, and we've got a great message and a great team that goes out and does that to protect the environment that we have today. That is what makes Round Rock so special.
Yeah, it's why everybody loves having a business here, growing their family here. We've heard it from guest after guest after guest, and it's that vision of doing that and initially offering that to Dell, that if we don't keep it here, it's going to affect us long term and all our families. And so, yeah, it's really important. I want to come back to you because I'm very curious. I'm sure now you've already gotten the picture, obviously, that this chamber is very different than all the other chambers out there for a lot of reasons. And I know that one of the things the chamber does is they've been doing all these intercity visits. And so I'm really curious because I've not done one. What is it that you get, knowing that we're the greatest chamber in the country, right? In the fastest growing county in the country, what are we taking away from those visits?
That we're the best city chamber. No.
Fair enough.
No, we launched, it's not a program that's new to the chamber world. A lot of chambers do inner city visits. And historically, we would travel with the Austin Chamber. They do an amazing job on their inner city visits. But it became very obvious that the issues that they're solving in Austin are not the issues that we are looking to solve here in Round Rock. We're different. So we launched our first ever inner city visit to Franklin, Tennessee, which is actually Williamson County, Tennessee, which I thought was clever.
Yeah.
But we went to Williamson County, Tennessee. They're a suburb of Nashville. This year, or I guess 2 years ago now, this past year, we went to and visited the suburbs and growing communities right outside of Phoenix. It's a great opportunity to go and learn from these other communities on what are they doing about the population growth. How are they managing infrastructure? What are they doing about keeping things affordable? What are their economic development policies? You'd be surprised how much they kind of pull back the curtain and share with us. But it really is about best practices, making sure that we're always aware of how other communities are doing things so that we always know that we're doing them just as good, if not better. But I will say we do walk away from that kind of proud, like, man, we're doing really good here in Round Rock, and we've got great leadership. It's great the city participates and they're invested in this as well. So, we never want to be resting on our laurels. We want to be improving and always making sure that we're getting better. And that's really what those visits are about. Plus, you get to know everybody a little bit better. You travel with a group of 25 to 30 individuals from this community, and it's a great opportunity to network within our own community as well.
And I kind of want to piggyback off of that too. So one thing that I really learned when we went to this last inner city visit that I thought was unique, and I believe we used to do this back in the day, is we used to partner with the Round Rock ISD school district with high school students. And so for me, it was very insightful to see that one of the chambers was currently doing that. And it's all about education, right? And so when we come back, me and my ideas, as Jordan would say, I was like, I have an idea, but my time is coming to an end. But regardless, it's those opportunities that I think we want to take away and say, hey, is this right fit for us to potentially implement and put back in place?
Awesome. Selicia, you have an incredible expertise in market research. And you've also formerly been a greeter at the chamber when you were very, very young, because you did not know that.
Still young.
Yeah. So I'm curious what you've heard the buzzes about the chamber moving back to Main Street into the new Griffith building.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, I used to work at the Round Rock Chamber when I was a senior in high school, and I was a greeter, and I would work on Saturdays, right? And I got paid $100 for 4 Saturdays. And I was very fortunate enough to have maybe like one person, if I was lucky, 3 people come in on Saturday, and they're like, what is there to do in Round Rock? And I was like, let me tell you, with my little 1/2 page opportunity that I got to like grab them in and say, no, go explore. But where I go with that, and now looking at where we're at today, I'm like, wow, we clearly have more than a 1-pager, right? There's so many things that you could do and get involved in and participate. So we've come a long way, and I know we're just getting started, and that's what I'm most excited about.
Awesome. Deana, we all know that you work for a not-for-profit. And this year, with the Founders Wall campaign, the Chamber nonprofit foundation also launched it as well. And when you walk into the chamber, you'll see the Founders Wall. And we raised over $400,000 for this one-of-a-kind, basically business-to-business nonprofit. How do you expect this to impact and help other nonprofits? And what activities do you see the Round Rock Chamber leading through this nonprofit?
Well, I think it's important to understand, especially myself being with a nonprofit, that the Round Rock Chamber Foundation isn't in any competition with any other nonprofit, right? You said it yourself. It's a business-to-business nonprofit. So the Chamber has moved various programs under the foundation. So we have our leadership program, so Leadership Round Rock and Ascend. We have our entrepreneurship program. We have young professionals. And so really it's just a way to be able to raise money and to further those programs within our community to continue to help businesses here. And to, Jordan mentioned it earlier, developing leaders, future leaders, right? People who are going to lead boards, who are going to serve on commissions, who are going to lead the chamber. And so I think it's just a wonderful opportunity to further the reach of the chamber and continue to help other businesses.
Awesome. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think launching the Round Rock Chamber Foundation, again, this is something that a lot of chambers do, and it just opens up additional opportunities to accept funding or grants that can help us really expand our reach in workforce development, entrepreneurship, leadership development, community development. You know, we take some of these ideas that we had from the inner city visit, for example, and how do we engage high school kids? There might be grants out there at the state level, at the federal level that could help us create new programs to start building up a workforce pipeline starting in high school or middle school. And so it just really opens up a lot of opportunities that we are exploring and unlocking some funding that we maybe didn't have access to prior to the C3 launching last year.
Funding is always good.
Funding is great.
Selicia, you demonstrated a principle we've heard over and over again this year on the Rock Solid podcast. From, Will Peckham, Charlie Culpepper, just leader after leader talked about the vision of wanting to carry leaders forward, right? And keep building this community, not only for themselves, but for their children, their grandchildren, and all of that. This quality of vision is so important. And, obviously it was the tagline and the theme for this past year. What do you see as the current initiatives to keep developing those leaders for the future in our community, such as the YP program, the leadership and Ascend programs?
I think it's all of that and more, right? And I feel, again, going back to the inner city visit and seeing how they're implementing that program with the high school students. And as Jordan mentioned, maybe it's even the middle school students. I feel if we could create that building on vision, because I see a lot of the founding members, right, of what does Round Rock Vision look like in this room right now, and even the current leaders that are participating in all the leadership programs, to even, I'm going to call out my son Rio over there, who I know will eventually be a future leader. But these are the opportunities that we have to kind of forecast, right? We might not see the tree, when we plant it, but someone else is going to utilize the shade of it. And so I always say during our 75th year anniversary, let's continue to build on vision, because we have done such a great job thus far. And we would be remiss if we stopped here, which I know we won't. But that's the thing, again, that excites me. It's It's the people.
Definitely the people. Jordan, you just graduated what must be the best leadership class ever.
It was Leadership 2025. But
A lot of people might not know what a leadership program actually is. So I definitely want you to go into a little bit of that. But more importantly, this upcoming class, right, I think it just started actually, right, celebrating its 40th anniversary, is the largest class ever. With over 40 people. So I'm really curious, what does that tell you about the state of the future today and for the future?
yeah, thank you for that. And we actually have the leadership class of 2026. They're all here in the back of the room with us today. So
Let's give them a shout out
for being here. So I hate to break it to you, you will not be the best class ever because that class was last year and my class. But you can aspire to be. But no, the Leadership Round Rock, as I mentioned when I was speaking to our leadership class earlier this morning, it really is a flagship program that the Chamber offers. And going back to Selicia's point, last year was our 75th anniversary. So if you can imagine what Round Rock looked like 75 years ago, I wasn't here, but it was very different, I can imagine. But what made Round Rock what it is today is all of those people who came before us, who had the vision of making Round Rock the best community, the best place to live, work, raise a family, build your business. And we can't let a generation of leaders pass us by, right? So we always have to be looking to the future. And that is what these leadership programs are about. I would say, I went through the class last year. I've been in this chamber CEO position for 5 years. So you'd think I would know everything. And I was very clear that I did not. You learned so much about the fabric and what makes this community tick, what makes a community successful, and what sets us apart from others, even our neighbors, and how we continue to lead. And so the program is important because we have to make sure that we are always cultivating that next generation of leaders who understand what makes Round Rock special, who understands the vision of Round Rock 75 years from now, and as Selicia mentioned, planting those seeds today. And so it's a fantastic program. If anybody hasn't gone through it, I highly recommend it. It's a great way to really get involved, understand what makes our community so unique.
Yeah, I'm hoping to do that next year, so that will be the best class ever, but... Okay.
Well, and we'll have to cap it. If we do have the largest class too, I mean, the amount of people and showing interest in this just continues to grow. The caliber of individuals who are applying for this program is so impressive, and we couldn't turn people away. And so we're excited to see the program growing. It has been going on for 40 years. I don't know if anybody here was in leadership 40 years ago.
Well, Bill's quite an old timer.
Bill's 20 years ago, I think.
20 years, so.
But it does continue to grow. And again, it's a time commitment. And so just really grateful. And it's a testament to what an amazing community Round Rock is, that many people want to be involved and take that next step in their leadership journey.
Deana, I'm curious if you can tell us the class you were in and your favorite moment from that class.
Wow. The class of 2018, I will share this later in my comments, technically was metrically the best class ever, and I'll go into that later.
There's a theme going on here in case you didn't notice.
It's the relationships. I met some of my very best friends, my mentors, my biggest cheerleaders, relationships that are still so meaningful to me today. That all happened in that class. And right after Leadership Round Rock, I rolled right into Ascend, which when it was a 3-year program, and those things combined inspired me to be here, right? It inspired me to make this my goal, to be a board chair one day. I met some amazing people along the way. So it really is about the community, the network, and those relationships.
Jordan, how about for yourself?
Our class was a little unique in that we decided for those of you who haven't gone through, you get to pick a nonprofit that you will most groups fundraise for, and you can donate back. We chose the Rock Ride-On Center for Kids. It's an equine therapy center in Georgetown, serving all of Williamson County, Central Texas, for veterans and children with special needs. And so not only did we raise money, we were overachievers, and instead of just raising money to pay somebody to do a complete stall renovation for the horses, we just decided we would do the stall renovation ourselves as well. There was a time, Ramses, who's here with Embassy, he's probably running around. We were literally scraping like paint and rust off of some of these.
I thought she was going to go somewhere else, but
we were scraping paint and rust off of these horse stalls with a butter knife because we didn't have tools. We didn't know. I don't recommend it. That was not very efficient. Luckily, we had some really smart people from the city of Round Rock's General Services and Police Department who brought power tools, and that was much more efficient. But just kind of working together as a team, doing something like actual manual labor. Not everybody was down for manual labor, but they handed us waters, and everybody got together and played a part, and it was just like a really cool thing to get out and physically do work together. I think it really bonded the class.
Awesome. And how about for you, Selicia?
So my experience is a little bit different because I, being a Round Rock native, I was like, oh, Round Rock leadership, Ascend. I know everything about Round Rock. I'm going to go all in on Ascend. And I got denied. I didn't get to participate. They were like, nope, you need to go through Round Rock leadership. And I was like, I know everything though, right? I did not. And so I applied to Round Rock leadership, and boy, was my eyes opened, because as Deana and Jordan said, there are so many integral parts that our city does, and our ISD and the universities and the hospitals, and I could go on. So I am forever grateful that I didn't immediately get into Ascend, because I would have missed a really big, important part of the program, which was the Round Rock leadership. So if you have applied and you didn't get in, it's okay. You're hearing it firsthand here from me. But then I went and followed up with Ascend, and I was in it for the 3-year program. And again, the relationships you make, the friends, the mentors, that's the part that I take away. And I'm so grateful for it, because I never would have been in this role, but people, believed in me and supported me to do that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Deana, as we're wrapping up the podcast portion, with the momentum that Selicia and the Chamber team have brought this past year, what do you want to see us all accomplish this coming year?
Sure. So I think this year in 2026, retention is going to be paramount. Everyone in this room, all of our ambassadors, our board, Selicia, our staff, worked really, really hard to get us to those 1,001 members. But I don't want it to all be for naught, right? We need to keep those members, and we need to retain them. On average, we at the Chamber, our retention rate is about 80%, which is on average among chambers across the country. But we're not an ordinary chamber. We're extraordinary, and I think we can do better. I know we can do better. And Nicole and Iris worked so hard to help us, and the ambassadors as well, to reach out and re-engage and keep those members and retain them. So then also engagement. We mentioned earlier, we had yesterday, you were there was the first member orientation of the year. We need to get our members engaged. They need to come to those meetings, whether you've been a member for a year or 20 years, like Ascension. It's important that they understand the benefits and they take advantage of them so that they can get engaged and continue to expand their network and grow their business. And then the last thing that's going to be important to me this year is the foundation. I work for a nonprofit hospital. I work for a foundation. It's near and dear to my heart. So figuring out different revenue streams, really finding the identity of the foundation this year. It's clear what the initiatives of the foundation are, but really make our name known in the community, that it's another area that you can pour into with your time, talent, treasures, testimony, and really just help grow that this year.
I'm real curious, before we go to the next part of the program, how many people here have been members of the Chamber for longer than a year? Can you all raise your hand? Okay. Because one of the metrics that we learned, and then Brad was sharing with us, is the biggest drop in retention is in those businesses in the first year. And I know Bill and I talk about this all the time. We hate seeing businesses fail. That was the clip up there. And I challenge everybody here, right? What all can we all do to make sure that business gets to renew and succeeds that following year? How many of you believe, just a quick question, how many of you believe in this room that if they really plugged into the Chamber, if they took advantage of the relationships that they can develop here, that they'd most likely survive for a second year? And that's it. And so, yeah, I'm very excited for the initiatives that you have planned, and we'll hear a little bit more about that. And I want to thank everyone for their time. Selicia, do you have a couple comments that you might want to share?
Well, just a fun one, going back to the 1,000, because I think the board and the executive team and ambassadors will get a kind of a good laugh on this. So Aaron, my treasurer, created a dashboard. And so every month we would have a metric, and we would see where we currently stand, where we needed to be, and how we're going to drive to 1,000. And there was 3 months out of the year that I literally was like, I'm just going to shut up because I think they've had enough of me, trying to push them. But then I realized where we were going. And I said, you know what? We have 2 months left. We're so close. And I was like, you know what, guys and girls, let's roll up our sleeves and let's go to town and let's make this happen. And everybody agreed and stood behind that vision. And we clearly made that happen. And where I want to leave you all with this is we have to push each other, right? We have to believe in one another and our capabilities. So I think right here from the takeaway, you've heard it from Deana and from Jordan, let's continue to push the envelope and see where we could go.
Yeah, and I think just kind of closing comments, we had an incredible year. I mean, looking back at our 75th anniversary and everything that was accomplished, from strategic plans to economic development wins to launching the foundation to going through a full construction remodel of our office, which we are finally moving into, and we are so excited to host everybody soon. I made the joke, it's like our building before had zero technology in it, and then our new building has so much technology, we're still trying to figure out how to use it. But it's just an exciting chapter in the chamber. And so whether you have been here for a year, whether you're sitting in the room thinking about joining, or whether you've been a member for such a long time, our chamber evolves all the time. Selicia had a kind of running joke all year where she was like, I have an idea. And I was like, cool. Like, can you just write it down? Because there's so many ideas and we can implement a lot of them. But we can't implement everything right now. But we are a very entrepreneurial chamber, and we are always saying, hey, we've got a new idea. Let's try it. Let's see if it works. And if it serves the business community and it serves our members, we'll keep doing it. And so please get involved. Please come talk to any one of our amazing chamber staff, because we are here to serve you all and to, again, make sure that our business community continues to grow and thrive. And so it was an incredible year. We've got an incredible year ahead of us. Already some amazing initiatives underway. And so just excited for where we're going moving forward.
Any last comments?
I don't have any closing remarks because I'm just getting started. But I am just really, really, really excited to be in this role and to be able to serve in this capacity. Excited to get to know all of you and to further our chamber initiatives, and just really, really excited to see what 2026 brings.
Well, on behalf of everyone, I'm sure they'll agree. We want to thank you so much for your leadership, for your time today, for sharing so much. They did a great job telling this story. I've had previous guests on the podcast as well. We'd love to host your story as well. So if you want to get in touch, talk to Bill, talk to myself, we'd love to get you on the podcast. 20, 25-minute episodes. As you see, we've done over 60 of them. We have some great ones coming out as well. And I want to thank you for your time today. Selicia?